Prescription painkillers, they are life-changing to some chronic pain patients, but they are also the downfall of others.
In recent years, accidental overdoses have killed more middle-aged people in Washington than car accidents, and prescription painkillers are the drug of choice for criminals robbing pharmacies.
KXLY4 Sally Showman has spent the last several months looking into the problems that prescription painkillers have introduced.
Yeah, and Robin, it was about 10 years ago when Washington State began a major push to make sure doctors weren't undertreating pain. Doctors began prescribing narcotics not just to terminal cancer patients, but to anyone experiencing severe pain. Along with the increased availability has come the rise of abuse, addiction, and people so desperate to get the drugs, they'll commit felonies to do it.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of East Spokane. Spokane police are on the scene of yet another pharmacy robbery.
Another Spokane pharmacy is robbed for OxyContin.
A man robs Walgreens, steals a couple bottles of OxyContin.
It's the 7th robbery this summer.
For most, these breaking news flashes are just another part of the evening news.
I was lost because I was thinking, oh, please don't let this be true.
For Janice Meredith, breaking news became personal. August 4th, her son's girlfriend was on the phone, hysterical.
She says, Nico just shot himself. And I said, what? And she says, Nico just shot himself. He robbed a Rite Aid and he shot himself. And I'm like, what? How do you know this? And she says, it's on the news.
A pharmacy robbery, police chase, and guns drawn.
Armed with a gun, Janice's son, Nico, walked into a Rite Aid, held a pharmacist up at gunpoint, and demanded OxyContin. 20 minutes later, police surrounded Nico in his getaway car. Sitting in the driver's seat with an audience of officers, he shot himself in the head. Life support kept Nico alive for a day.
And I sat there for 22 hours. And the hardest thing for a mother is to pray for their child to die, to get him out of the pain.
Nico's death certificate cites suicide, but his mom says desperation killed her son. Desperation to feed an addiction that sprung from a prescription.
As best as I understand, is the OxyContin started with an abscess tooth.
That was about 8 years ago. Janice says the downward spiral began immediately. She says OxyContin turned Nico into an aggressive, desperate criminal, always looking for his next fix. He's one of many addicts who have struck Washington drugstores this year. According to DEA numbers for Washington State, robbers hit 87 times in 2009. The state's never seen so many pharmacy robberies. That number has increased steadily since 2003 when there were 12 statewide. But Nico's story is the exception. Most tragedies involving painkillers don't end up on the evening news.
I just miss him.
It's been nearly 5 years since the one-way conversations began at Justin Hager's grave.
It might seem weird to come here and pray and talk to him, but I don't think I'm the first one.
At just 22, Justin's parents say he unknowingly took a lethal dose of the prescription painkiller methadone. It's a drug also used to wean addicts off of other opiates. That's how Justin got his last prescription.
We found him at 1:30 in the morning. That wasn't a good night.
It's a pain shared by hundreds of families. Justin is one of 308 people in Washington who died of a methadone overdose in 2006. Washington's Department of Health keeps track of the numbers.
He was outgoing, and he was gregarious, and he was well-loved. And, you know, but to some people, he's just a number. He's just one of the so many that died in 2006.
Prescription painkiller overdoses killed more people aged 35 to 53 than car accidents in Washington from 2006 to 2008. According to Department of Health numbers, the death rate has grown exponentially since 1997. Back then, 36 people died of accidental overdoses. In 2008, 505 died. The numbers might be shocking. The Hagers say attention to it is limited at best.
When somebody dies in a car accident, well, I wonder if they had their seatbelt on, because we all know how to keep ourselves safe in the car, but we aren't equipped how to keep our kids safe from prescription drugs.
She says the robberies, the deaths are symptoms of the same problem.
I mean, it's so easy to get addicted to opiates.
I think what we see in our communities with robberies and unintended overdoses with opioids is a reflection of, number one, how available they are, and also how dangerous they are.
Group Health's Associated Pharmacy Director Mike Norwood has been preparing prescriptions for 25 years. 10 to 15 years ago, he says it was only terminal cancer patients picking up narcotics.
We now see those medications used more and more to manage significant pain in patients that are not chronically or terminally ill.
Patients like Nico Burden.
You know, he kept using the abscess tooth as an excuse to get the prescription. Nico was able to go to 3 different doctors, 3 days in a row, and go to 3 different pharmacies to get the OxyContin.
Janice believes prevention starts in doctors' offices.
And we need to deal with the pharmaceutical companies, and we need to deal with the doctors who are more than happy to prescribe this drug and just get it out there.
Norwood says the majority of patients using opioids for pain management use them appropriately, but he says the minority is a dangerous bunch.
They are medications that have a significant addictive potential to them.
Nobody wants to quit more than these kids, but it's just like they're absolutely powerless.
Maybe Nico can explain it best.
I don't want to live that life anymore.
His mom found this journal entry after he died.
I don't want to be chasing a high to cover up my problems. No more hocus pocus. I must focus. Soon I will stampede the globe. I will be known.
An eerie foreshadowing.
A pharmacy robbery, police chase, and guns drawn.
A life that ended in the headlines, but a problem that began long before.
He had this in his backpack at the time he shot himself.
Now, why do you keep that?
Just a reminder of how precious life is and how sad that a drug can make somebody so desperate to the point that there's no other way out, or they feel there's no other way out.
The challenge that doctors face is getting the drugs to people who legitimately need them, because there's many out there who do, and keeping them out of the hands of addicts. A lot is being done to combat these problems. New legislation will guide doctors through the process of determining when to prescribe narcotics and when to stop increasing the dosage. On the pharmacy robbery front, Walgreens has installed time delay safes in all Washington stores, and it's working. We have a lot more information online, a lot we could not include in this story, just time limited us a lot. So
We talk about how these type of drugs can take a person down the wrong path, but obviously they're meant for good reasons too.
And many people use them appropriately. Like you heard the pharmacist say, the majority of people use them appropriately. And I've talked to people who say they couldn't live without these drugs, so they can be a very good thing, but a very bad thing.
And you did so much research and talked to so many people. And again, you said that'll be online. You have a lot more than just the story.
Extensive extensive interviews that I conducted that I could not include in the story with pain management doctors. It's all online.
Okay. A lot of education out there. If you'd like to see Sally's story all over again, you can watch it on KXLY.com. We'll be posting it there a little bit later tonight.